Gotta get up early, nigga. Any nigga get up past 2 o'clock. It got no money on his mind. Always remember that. Any nigga who get up past 2 o'clock. If you get up past 2 o'clock every day, you 12, 13. By the time you 21, you ain't gonna be shit.
Shit, he really be motherfucking 10.
If you get up past 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock every day, by the time you 22, nephew, you ain't gonna be shit. Listen to me. I'm telling you.
JD Jimerson, shout out to myself. You tapped into the 5 a.m. club. What up, Blaze?
What's good? It's your boy, The Real Chief A1, who is The Real Chief TV on YouTube. Shout out to Bad Boy Blaze and the whole 5 a.m. club. Waking up and getting your mind right to start your day. Shout out to yourselves.
Yo, what up? It's DJ Cy Mill. You're now tuned into the 5 a.m. club. Shout out yourself. What up, Blaze?
Let's see. 4:59. Shit, looks like you're right on time for the 5 a.m. club. Come for the positivity. Stay for the game. Shout out, Blaze.
Good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club. It's OOBLZ at Instagram. Blaze the God. TikTok. Blaze. Generally speaking. And BLZ, if you're cool. Good morning, y'all. Honey C, good morning. Savory Dave, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club. Barry Beige, top of the morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club. How y'all feeling this morning? It is a wonderful, wonderful day. It's a lot of rain going on over here, but personally, I enjoy the rain, so it's not a huge deal to me. Yeah, I'm getting off to a good foot. It's the start of a excellent week. Yeah. End of February already. Can y'all believe it? We've been going a couple of months strong. It is crazy. Yeah, Savory Dave, man. I was reading some of them articles you sent yesterday. Yeah, man, it's a trip, man. How it's so easy to not be on point when it comes to our health. There's so many things that we automatically think or assume when it comes to health. You know, me and Barry talked yesterday about one of our go-to meals. You know, I don't know if I expressed that, but that was certainly one of my go-to meals. Salmon, broccoli, rice. Yeah, so Barry said all we get eat is stir fry air now. Right? Man, barbecue air. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. We talked about the different countries who allow or doesn't allow some of the things that we allow over here. And you know, speaking of geography, where I live now is about an hour, you know, from where I grew up at. And I remember making this move and how big of a deal it was, you know, in terms of distance, you know, and general area as well, you know, location. And when I first got out here, I used to go back to the city I was raised in. I used to go back to LA several times a week, you know, just regular programming. And that slowly started to fade. You know, it became, you know, a few times a week to maybe once or twice to I'm not going unless I absolutely have to go. Unless I absolutely have business out there. And, you know, it made sense. But talking about moving around, you know, that's an hour from where I grew up at. So imagine, you know, I never thought honestly, I never thought beyond my state, just to be, you know, all the way 100. I never thought beyond my state. Not because I couldn't see a dream that far. It's just that I was very comfortable where I'm at. Very comfortable where I'm from. And that's not a good thing. Who's the real Chief TV? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, that's not a good thing. You know, this hour move has enlightened me so much. It's a trip, you know. This hour has shown me so much that I can only imagine what 8 hours would show me. I can only imagine what another state would show me. And if we're going to talk about states, we might as well dive into countries, man. Imagine what another country could show you, you know, about yourself and about what you're interested in or what you're not interested in. So moving to the city that I'm in, you know, the change is so dramatic in terms of the people, the energy. It's I mean, it's night and day. It's crazy. It's crazy. The amount of space, the amount of peace, the amount of tranquility. And you know, I'm a you know, this type of environment, this type of atmosphere really complements my personality. You know, I'm really a thinker. Ms. Walker, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club. I think it's about time we go ahead and make you a permanent badge. You've been here pretty often. We love it. We welcome you. Very glad to have you. Yeah, so with all that I've learned in this hour move, imagine, you know, what's out there for me in terms of being in a different city, different state. I mean, I'm already in a different city, but, you know, a different state or a different country, you know. And I started thinking harder about that yesterday when we talked about the different foods that's not allowed in other countries, that's banned in other countries, but that are accessible here. Not only accessible, but, you know, it's okay. They serve us whatever, as long as it's good for the vendor, as long as it's good for somebody's pocket. They allow us to have it, you know. Yeah, so with the great change and feel that I have in the city and moving cities, who knows what another country would do for me. Daryl Jones, top of the morning. Good morning to you, bro. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club. Who's the real Chief TV says, Blaze, you're speaking my language. Been in New Yorker and moving around from NY to South and realized my views are broader than some of my peoples who weren't able to move around and get those experiences. Yeah, and it's a trip. And also you'd be surprised who, you know, how many people were not able to move around versus how many people chose not to move around. You know, I was one of those people who chose not to move around. You know, I was glued in my area, my city for so long, not because I couldn't move. Well, maybe I'm a bad example because a lot of my movement had to take place, you know, whether it was the business, whether it was my hustle, my grind. So you're right. But I do believe that I do know some guys that hustle locally. and that's all they do. You know what I mean? They just, you know what I mean? They got the bread, the means to go other places, but they do not want to leave that area. They do not want to leave their location. And I'm sure their reasoning would be because, you know, that's where they're comfortable. That's where the money is. And they don't want to leave that money. But what they don't realize or understand is that if there's another city, a town, a state, a country that best complements you and your personality, oh man, money, whatever it is you after could be endless. And an example of that is my move where I'm at now, being an hour away from where I grew up from. I mean, like I said, this peace and tranquility, this really complements who I am as a person. I operate best, you know, under peace and quiet, and you know, because I'm a thinker. You know, I'm a thinker. So this is where most of the magic happened for me. I've always been a person who I never looked for. Well, let me not say that. I'd be lying. I definitely look for titles that fit me. I definitely looked for roles or position that fit me, but I would never be limited to what I find. If I don't find a title or role that fits me, I simply create it. That's who I am. And being that kind of a person, you know, being next to the mountains, being out in the open, that really complements my personality and allows me to further develop myself and any other thoughts of personal endeavors that I may have or may be excited about. So yeah, it's a trip. You know, some countries, I think everybody should, you know, make it a point to travel at some point in their life, several destinations. Just go see what country, what city. If not another country, definitely go try another city at the bare minimum. But I challenge you to a few states. You know, a few states, because you never know. You never know. You know, maybe you think you like this. Maybe you think certain people like you, you know, until you get somewhere else and they really show you love. Or until you try something else that you really enjoy, that you really appreciate. You know? So yeah, it's crazy, man. You know, when I first moved out here where I'm at, you know, the energy was so different. I didn't know how to take it. You know, I would be on this walking trail near my house, and you know, that certainly wasn't a thing where I came from. So when I would walk on the walking trail, these, you know, people would be like, "Hey, good morning." I'd be like, "Good morning. What, you think I'm some kind of punk or something? Good morning, me. You know, you about to set me up for something?" No, that's just, you know, when you go to different areas, you got different fields, you got different lifestyles, you got different climate, you got different everything. You know, where I'm from is constant drama. It's always wars on you know, 2-3 minutes in any direction you look. The traffic, the crowd, the poverty. So people really have reasons to be frustrated early in the morning. Some people wake up and gotta, you know, wait for 2 or 3 people to get up and or be up at the same time as them to move cars. Some people gotta wake up in the morning and knock on somebody else's door, you know, so that they can get out of their driveway or so they can move their car or so they can get their day started. I couldn't imagine having a knock on somebody's door because I want to go to work in the morning, or because I want to take a drive in the morning, or because anything. I don't want to rely on nobody for nothing, you know, if they're not related to a part of me. You know, so it's crazy. And some people, you know, got to deal with their driveways being blocked. You know, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You got to be careful. Miss Walker says, "I'm an independent travel agent," and I agree with you, BLZ. You must get an experience. You must get and experience different places. Yes, I agree. And I'm gonna put Ms. Walker's information on the screen there too, in case any of you guys thinking about moving around and haven't had a chance to move around. Also, Ms. Walker, go ahead and type how they would find your business or get in contact with you if anybody wants to do any traveling. It's very, very important to move around, and I think having a travel agent really helps out because these people are very knowledgeable. They know, different methods of traveling the best way. It's just all kind of insight that you get, having a travel agent versus trying to put something together yourself. They generally find better deals. They generally, keep it real with you and say, well, if you don't have to go this week, if you make it one more week, you can get it for half price, or you can save 25%, whatever. So I found that, travel agents, can and are generally very helpful. So if any of you guys interested in doing some moving around, let's give Miss Walker, let's hit her up. So as soon as she posts her information up there, I'll put it on the screen too. If anybody's interested, it's definitely, I would definitely recommend it. Mm-hmm. Honey C says, I'm a true SoCal girl, but I felt the most in love in the South. Texas, George. Yeah. You never know. You just never know what area really compliments you. So I've been in almost every state in the US. I've actually driven from California to New York. So it's an awesome drive. I'd love to do it again under different circumstances. Although the circumstance I drove before was very awesome. It was cool and, got to move at my own pace. But I still had a little bit of fire in them because I wanted to get to, the business. But I'd really like to take that drive and have no business at all other than the fact that I want to go different places and see different things. Also, I skipped over real fast in the beginning, but if there's any special announcements, anybody got any birthdays coming up, any what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, you my married group members, anniversaries, birthdays, anniversaries, anything that's important to you guys is certainly important to me. So anything special going on, please feel free to post that in the comments. Yeah, we should definitely acknowledge those things. So you guys definitely do that. We're going to cover a few things today. I want to tap into Fort Worth, Texas, in the building, JD. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yvette, good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to the 5 a.m. Club. Yeah, so I encourage everybody to move around just a little bit, if at all possible. Certainly experience some other things. Let's get those passports. If you can't get a passport for whatever reason, just get moving. Get moving locally. Try a different state. I told you guys the experience I had just in a different city. So can you imagine the type of change that could take place in a different country? When it comes to food, when it comes to overall quality of life, I can't talk enough about the different policies that are shared in Europe. Europe, the eating is different, the quality of food is different, the quality of living is different. From having a basic job in some of these European countries is a plus in itself. I always talk about the mandatory vacations that they offer over there. Mandatory vacations, whether you're an office worker, a McDonald's worker, or an employee of a Fortune 500 company. Mandatory vacations. They certainly believe in happy employees. They take care of their women real good too. The women, the maternity leaves, the time they get to take and spend out here. I don't know what is it out here, and ladies, y'all might be able to help me out here. What do we get here in California in terms, or the United States period? But What do we get for when a woman gets pregnant? A woman is pregnant for 9 months. I don't even think that she's even allowed 9 months off of work. You know, how terrible is that? Our women get to carry a baby for 9 months, but she doesn't get a 9-month break. And that's not asking for a lot. 9 months to spend the first 9 months with her baby, with her child. You know, that's not really asking much. And the fact that we don't get that, you know, it says a lot. It says a lot. But again, you know, we live in a country founded upon business. So it'd be silly to live here, to continue to be here and complain. So this is not a complaint at all. It's simply an observation. And if some of these observations interest you, you know, definitely look it up and check it out. See what works for y'all. Read 18-121 says they give family leave in some companies. Yeah, how much time though? I'm sure everybody gets a, you know, family leave. They're not going to let the woman walk around the office ready to burst. How much time though is what we're looking at over here? Whatever it is, I know it's not very much. Not very much time, and that's, you know, that's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. So if some of these things bother you guys, if some of these things, you know, some of them bother people more than others. For me, they bother me in the sense of I believe we can do better and we should, but it's not enough for me to just take off. Some other people might say, hey, you know what? I had no idea that other countries treated you better. I'm out of here. So, you know, make sure you know, figure out what works for you. I'm going to take it that we have no special announcements today for this week. That's cool. If somebody think of something, certainly put it in there and we'll get to it. But what do y'all think about Kevin Hart being canceled, his little Egyptian tour being canceled? 8 weeks of paid parental leave at 100% of base pay. 8 weeks. Is that 8 weeks? Is that here in the States or is that outside the country? Because 8 weeks sound like doesn't sound very long, but then you put in 100% pay. 100% pay certainly doesn't sound American. Unfortunately. Verizon. Okay, so I guess that's here. Yeah, 8 to 12 weeks is criminal. Carry it for 9 months, but you get 8 to 12 weeks. That's approximately 2 to 3 months, depending on what type of year you're giving birth, what time of year. That is, you know, yeah, I agree with Barry. That's criminal. That is criminal. But we are the criminals if we stay here and we don't like that. You know what I mean? That's the crazy. That's the catch-22. And that really ties into the title of the show today. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. You know, if that's the truth, we get 8 to 12 weeks. That is not pure at all. And there's nothing simple about that because I'm sure they got some reasoning behind that, some kind of science. They always got some co-explanations. That's us. We can explain anything. We can explain anything here. And make it, you know, sprinkle a little sugar on it, and all of a sudden it's edible. So Kevin Hart's supposed to have some shows, a tour in Egypt, and they're talking about I think he's pretty much canceled. I like Kevin Hart. He one of my most respected comedians. I won't say my favorite. His style of comedy is not at the top of the list for me. You know, you guys ever feel like that about somebody? Like you like them or you respect them, but you don't necessarily like them. You know, yeah, Kevin Hart is one of those people to me. Another example of that would be like Nas to me. Somebody asked me about Nas last week. Nas is one of those guys that he's on the top of a lot of guys' favorite artist list. It's not at the top of mine, but I respect him to the fullest. His character, his personality, what he's accomplished. And, you know, so I'd never say he was weak. He just not, that's not my type of music, but I like him a lot. So that's how it is with Kevin. I like Kevin a lot. I like what he's done with that group of guys. You know, brought his buddies along. They all rich. They all eating. They all making money. Yeah, and I feel like I'm a part of a potential group like that with the whole Craig Fice, you know, Craig Smith, and the rest of us. But I really like how Kevin move in that aspect. Yeah, but they trying to shut him down in Egypt right now based on some comments made a couple of years ago. And I'm like, what is this, man? This whole cancel culture thing is just it's just getting out of control, you know. And one of the main areas that I really disagree with this cancel culture stuff is in comedy. One of the things we love about comedy is that these guys get to actually be them. They get to say whatever. And I agree with it. Even the jokes that I don't like, I agree as a comedian, you should be allowed to, you know, talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know? I think you should be able to speak freely. You know, yeah, it's crazy, man, that this is we live in different times, man. I've never seen so much colorful TV. You know what I mean? Colorful TV. I've never seen so much talk, you know, about sexuality so openly. You know, we just live in different times. But anyway, the Egyptians are pissed off at Kevin for saying that some of the original Egyptians were black, African Americans. Is that such a terrible thing? You know, this culture is so pissed off. They want to have this black man there to make this money. They don't mind having this black man there to boost the economy or to help out with whatever they got going. But the fact that he said that, you know, some of the original Egyptians are black, these kind of things only make you think hard or twice about what we're talking about here. Because, you know, if somebody says something crazy about you that just had absolutely no merit to it, no truth at all, would you really be that upset? Would you really be that upset? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. You know, I mean, I've heard all kind of crazy stuff about myself. You know, I mean, Craig Fice, man, these dudes. You know, we got one of the most relentless chat rooms in the world. Our chat room goons are second to none. And these guys call me everything from Dominican to half white to you know, all kinds of stuff, and I love it. It's funny, it's entertaining. So jokes. I'd never ban any of y'all. I'd never even be upset at none of these people for thinking these thoughts. Some of them gave me ideas to play with certain things. So, you know, when people start taking stuff serious, it really made me question it. I'm like, okay, it's serious for a reason. Mm-hmm. It is serious for a reason. Yeah, but so they're making this big deal on him. But I seen this book by Stuart Tyson Smith, which is an Egyptologist, and he says that Egypt had multiple ethnic groups. And this is an Egyptologist. Multiple ethnic groups. It's not limited to, and it's including African Americans. So what is the big deal? What is the big deal? What is the big deal? You know, all this talk of separation, all this racism, all this racist talk. What, you know, the people who acknowledge this stuff, the people who make these bold moves, are the people that we really got to question. Who's really bothered by that? Is there some truth to that? You know, yeah, like y'all do it very simple. Everybody, take a second and hit that like button for me, please. I certainly appreciate it. Here at the 5 a.m. Club, the like buttons generally go for $10,000, but they're free for us here at the 5 a.m. Club. I'd like every one of you to take that time and tap that button. If you're subscribed on YouTube, don't forget to hit the notification bells. That'll let you know, and send reminders every time I go live. And you certainly wouldn't want to miss it. I got a couple of shows, a couple of things that I release on here, and I appreciate all the love and all the support from you guys. Also, if anybody want to contribute to the show, add to anything we got going here, we're not monetized. So if you guys like to help out in any way, shape, form, or fashion,
I take cash out, Venmo, Zelle, EBT, EBT. I take cash out, Venmo.
Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy, man. You know, the climate we in, everybody's under scrutiny. Everybody's being questioned about everything. And you know, what can we do? The 007 franchise, you know, which I am a slight fan of, you know, 007, 00BLZ, you already know. So, you know, racist terms and questions when it comes to the 007 series. You know, if anybody followed that, they have several books and movies, and they're talking about revamping the writings from these books, removing the N-word when it comes to Black people. If any of you guys ever followed 007, there's an East Asian man, he's a henchman called Oddjob. You know, Oddjob is an East Asian dude, and there's several terms that they use, you know, in the original books, the original writings. They use several terms, you know, racial terms, you know, describing him. You know, he's a Korean, and yeah, they're trying to clean all that up now, which I agree to a degree. I mean, one, you should have never used it unless it was, you know, had some form of purpose or intent. But especially if it doesn't have any purpose or intent, like, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing? What are we doing? Said Fish, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. Club. I meant to say that earlier. I see you come on in here with some information for us. Egypt and Africa last I checked, not off the coast of Sweden. You're right. Like, why are they arguing about this? We're not talking about, you know, apples and oranges here. It's not that big of a difference. So yeah, certainly agree. Yeah, just crazy times. And random news, you know, just random facts. I like putting out random stuff here. I don't know. You guys hip to what's the name of that show with Pat Sajak, The Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. Vanna White. Did you guys know Vanna White makes $10 million a year? You know, $10 million a year. You guys don't know who Vanna White is. Vanna White is the lady from Wheel of Fortune. I think it's Wheel of Fortune. If I'm saying, if I got the wrong show, y'all let me know. Wheel of Fortune, Price is Right. Wheel of Fortune. Vanna White is the woman who turns over the letters on that show. And this woman is making $10 million a year. $10 million a year. That is a lot of money. And let's think about what she does. I mean, you know, how long can filming possibly go on? A couple of hours a day? $10 million a year to turn over letters. And another interesting fact is when it comes to the Wheel of Fortune, they only film 4 days a month. Let me throw that in there. 4 days a month. We're talking about $500,000 minimum a month. $500,000 for 4 days of work. Are we all doing the wrong thing or what? I'm definitely doing the wrong thing. I'm working entirely too hard and for not enough. You know, for this woman to be getting $10 million a year. Man, I say that to say that it's out here for us. We got to keep looking. You know, we got to be real. You know, we got to really be out here. I mean, with both hands out, asking for it, man, because it's out here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. $10 million. Ridiculous money. Yeah, man. Shout out to the people making that kind of bread, you know, having that much fun doing that kind of work, which is why I enjoy what I do, because I have a ball. I have a ball, and at some point it's gonna get like some point it's gonna get major, and I'm gonna be into the major bucks to continue to do what I do here and actually get greater at it. I don't plan on just staying level. I mean, whatever scale we helping people out on now, I certainly expect that to increase, to increase drastically. Desmond, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club. Oh, grant info. We're going to stop and talk about that right now. I just thought about you the other day. I'm glad you brought that up. So right now, grants are really, really hard to come by. They're really not giving too much of this governmental money out right now because of the deficit that we in. And when it comes to small business, there's so many of them. There's so many small businesses. So it's very, very hard to get those grants right now. I spoke to one of my friends who does that particularly. So unless you have unless you're into, nonprofit or something, there's always something in nonprofit. So if you're into a nonprofit, I got somebody special, particularly who deals with those. But again, it's not impossible. So, I would definitely keep trying, keep pushing the line. But grants are very hard to come by, especially the small business grants right now. So, yeah, always push your line, but they're a lot harder than they were, in the past, recent past, that is, too. So, yeah, that's what I found out about that, too, Desmond. Yeah, so you got a hard line to push, but that's the price to pay for doing something that you love, that you really enjoy. The Briggs sound like Chandler Parsons, yeah. Overpaid. Yeah. What else did I find out about the grants? They're really hard to get right now. Yeah, the money is really tight. So they got a good grip on that right now. The American College of Cardiology. I read something in that last night, and that related to us. We always talk about the importance of sleep here at the 5 a.m. club. The good sleep hours are between 7 and 8 hours, and most people don't get that. But if you have any chance at getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, please do so. There's so many, benefits to that. And one of the main benefits to that is adding extra years onto your life. Yeah, just read some research published from the American College of Cardiology. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is good for your overall heart health. And it adds years to your life. 8% of deaths were due to poor sleep. 8% is not a giant number, but 8% of and think, right now we're not that old, but once you get to that place where you know, any year could be the year, that's when you will be thinking, I wish I had done whatever I could do to add another 5 years or so to my life, you know, in a lot of cases. And in most cases, sleep is one of those things that you could have done. Surely there are other things that add to, you know, our life or overall health, but let's start with the easy stuff. Sleep. 7 to 8 hours daily can add 4.5 years to your life. Very big deal. Very big deal. You know, it's important. We got to get it. People like me, I have to make it a point to get that sleep because I feel like, you know, I feel like I'm missing something if I sleep. I have to get out that train of thought. We're not missing anything. Whatever's for you is for you. Whatever is for you is for you. And yeah. Honey C says sleep ain't easy. Yeah, I hear you. And I totally agree. But what are we gonna do, right? What are we gonna do? Got to work at it the best we can, and as long as we know we're giving it all we got, that's about the size of it. That's how I feel about anything. Anything that I'm giving it my all, whatever results I have are my results, and that's it. Just gotta take it how it comes. You know, gotta take it how it comes. What else did I want to touch on with you guys today? We got our weekly goals down yesterday. Me, Barry, Scribe 24, Savory Dave. Let's talk about some random pimping ain't easy, neither is sleep, honey C. Right? That's hilarious. Yeah. So things in your attic. Things in your attic that may be worth big bucks. There's an article on that. And if any of you guys collect old stuff or keep stuff stored and laying around like me, that article is certainly worth checking out. It's on Yahoo News. They listed a bunch of things that could possibly be in your attic that's worth serious money. Rubik's Cube. A Siamese Rubik's Cube. I don't know if you guys ever seen one of those. It's basically the Rubik's Cube, but it's two of them, and they kind of stuck together at an angle. When that thing came out, it was, you know, I don't know, $4 or $5 to purchase that thing. And right now it's upwards of $100. $100. Can you imagine paying $5 for something that's worth $100 now? It's a pretty good profit. I don't know very many Rubik's Cube players or people who, I had one as a kid, I remember, but never the Siamese one. I never had the two. And I thought the original Rubik's Cube was hard in itself, but the Siamese one, yeah, what kind of genius do you got to be? Another interesting thing that I found, Pogs. I don't know if you guys remember the little Pogs, the little circular things and those were actually free. They're worth money now. Pogs were actually free. You can get those free. You know, they have the slammers, they have the double ones, the thick ones, and you know, I've seen those go, you know, much as $10 for a nice little collection. You know, $10 you won't get rich off of, but something that you got for free, something that's laying around, yeah, not a bad little come up. Beanie Babies. I don't know how many of you guys had or have or Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies had a particular Beanie Baby, Patty the try saying this real fast. Patty the Platypus. Patty the Platypus is worth $9,000 to $10,000. This is a toy that you pay $5 for one of your kids or your wife or whatever. $5. $5. Could you imagine somebody offering you 10 grand for some toy you bought your kid that's thrown in the closet, that's stuffed in your garage, that's been in the toy chest traveling from place to place? You know, just a piece of memorabilia, 10 grand. 10 grand. So, yeah, we got to be very careful of things that we purchase these days and what's going on and watch these things. I always thought about, you guys know I'm into classic cars. So some of the prices of these cars nowadays are ridiculous. And to think, I met a guy who still had the MSRP sticker on his fastback Mustang, 1966 Mustang, and that sticker said somewhere around $4,000. $4,000 was the original price of a showroom floor 1966 fastback Mustang. Now, $4,000, you couldn't even buy the wheel package for a fastback Mustang for $4,000, much less a car. So his car is worth, you know, somewhere around $100,000 today. And that's a car that's been, you know, bought, used, driven, you know, in decent condition. But imagine if somebody just took 20 grand and said, you know what, I'm going to take 20 grand of my savings or 20 grand and put it to the side. And give me 5 of those fastback Mustangs, right? You spend 20 grand, bought 5 of them, and just stuffed them in a corner somewhere, stuffed them in a garage or warehouse or something. There's no doubt in my mind that those would be a minimum of $500,000 a piece today. $500,000 a piece. 5 of them. It's a lot of dough. A lot of dough. $2.5 million based on $20,000 in 1966. So I thought about those things when it came to my parents or grandfathers or, you know, grandparents. What things are being sold today for us right now at a price that will be 10 times over in 40 or 50 years? What will our grandkids be saying about us? What will they be saying that we should have took advantage of and we didn't? Because surely, you know, when those cars were being sold, there was people around like, I like this, I don't like it, whatever. I will buy one, I won't. Or the people. Or what about the guy who bought one for $4,000 and a few years later he decided he wanted something else and gave that one away for $1,000? This car is old. Take this. Give me $1,000, man. You can have it. I remember at some point, you know, Chevy Impalas, you know, the 61, 62, 63, 64. People, you know, when people bought those cars back in the day, they were so plentiful that people would just throw those away. They would just get out and leave those cars. You know, those cars are upward of $100,000 today. Imagine a person who bought one out of economical needs, like, that's all I can afford. There's plenty of space for my kids, and it's not that expensive. Let's do it, man. I'm a regular guy. I'm a poor guy. Poor guy in my ass. You're at the top of the chart now, pal. top of the charts. That kind of money. What about the Nike? What about Yeezys? The Nike when he had to deal with Nike. So the Nike Yeezys were I don't think they really released them. He had some sample shoes that there were a few of them put out there that you can get your hands on. This sample shoe, I seen it some years back for sale in one of these New York spots, these shoe consignment spots for 65 grand. And the last time I checked, I seen it up there for $100K. $100,000 sneaker. $100,000 sneaker. Kanye is another one of those artists that I respect, but I don't particularly like him at all. At all. But I respect the business. $100,000 shoe. Barry Bays, comic books, retro toys, etc. all go for crazy money. Yeah. You better believe it. You had better believe it. I scanned that list for several things that I have. You know, I'm one of those dudes. I got to be careful because, you know, you could easily slip on over to just being a hoarder. But there's some things that I got for sure, you know, that I know is worth some money that is definitely worth holding on to. Savory Dave says I signed the bottles in my first case of barbecue sauce I made and gave them to people and told them to keep them. They would be worth something one day. Absolutely. Yeah. You never know whose grandkids are gonna have those bottles of barbecue sauce. You know what I'm saying? For the famous Savory Dave. You know, that's dope. That is dope. Yeah, stuff out here, man. We just have no idea. Could you imagine all of us, first of all, we 5 a.m. clubbers. So that goes without saying. We all hungry for knowledge, for information, for health, for wealth. Imagine if one of us had what we were looking for and we already owned it. Imagine it's in your garage right now. You know, when I was going through that list, it got to a section where it said, you know, some of the wrestling toys, right? And when it says some of the wrestling toys, I know I have a bag of wrestlers that I got from my brother. My brother had them. I don't know where he got them from, but he got lucky and came up on some really old school wrestling toys, and he needed some money. So I told him, you know what? Here, I'll give you that money you need, and give me that bag of toys. So let me keep that at my house because you're always moving here and there, and you know we'll just be 50-50 partners. So when I saw this article about the wrestlers, I was excited, like, wow. Hopefully I see mine. I didn't see mine, but the ones that I did see, they were newer than the ones that I own. So I'm like, you know, maybe they overlooked them. I don't know, but I'm still holding out. And I feel like I actually want to go through that stuff sometime soon. You never know what you got. You never know what you got. But imagine having $250,000 stuffed in your basement or your attic somewhere. Have no idea. You have no idea that it's there, that it's worth that. It's just there, and you just, you know. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, so let's get into the exceptional people of the show today. The exceptional people in history. Today's exceptional man and woman in history is, for the men, we got James Armstead Lafayette. James Armstead Lafayette was born in 1748 and died in 1830. James Armstead Lafayette was a Revolutionary War spy. Snuck over to the side of the British during the Revolutionary War, where the British enlisted people of color to fight alongside them in their war for with the reward, a possible outcome of freedom, which I'm sure very many Black people took advantage of. thought that was very interesting that this man, James Armistead Lafayette, was able to slide on over there to the British, and they trusted him so much that they allowed him to be around when they're discussing war strategies, when they're talking plans and whatnot, and he was able to come back to the other side and relay that information to the other generals and some of the other spies. And he was a great help. He was a great help in the war. Great help in the war. Something ironic about his situation is after the war, most, I want to say, what was it, late 1700s, I'm sorry. So somewhere between, I want to say 1782, 1783, they passed a bill, freeing slaves who participated in the war. They were able to get their freedom. But James Armistead Lafayette was not qualified to get his freedom because he was not a soldier. His participation in the war was not that of a soldier. It was that of a spy, which we all know is even more dangerous and arguably more important. So how sickening was that for him to play such a pivotal role, and then they didn't even give him his freedom. But he petitioned it 3 years later in Virginia, and they end up granting him his freedom. But very interesting man. Very interesting man. An exceptional man in history. So I definitely think he deserves some acknowledgement, for his contribution. So our exceptional woman would be Phyllis Wheatley. Phyllis Wheatley was born in 1953 and died in 1953. Slow on my 1753. I'm sorry, folks. 1753 to 1784. She was born in Africa, where she was kidnapped, trapped, and snatched on a boat. On this boat that she was kidnapped and thrown on, the boat was called Phyllis. Phyllis, that was the name of the boat. And she was purchased and a slave to the Wheatley family. Hence the name Phyllis Wheatley. Phyllis Wheatley is a famous African-American poet, one of the first African-Americans to have her poetry published. Very smart woman. The Wheatley family recognized that in her very early on. At that time, it was unheard of for people of color to even, be able to read or write, much less create poetry, and her poetry was so powerful, was so big that it made its way to the hands of George Washington. She wrote George Washington, and based on those writings, he was able to see that there was some value in people of color, that they were not just, subhuman beings, that they were very much thriving people, sharp and intellectual as any other group. And he really respected her work. He actually wrote her back, and he addressed her in very respectful manners, addressing her as ma'am and, things of that nature. So shout out to Phyllis Wheatley, man, African poet. And especially at a time that, nobody believed in us. Also, unfortunately for her, that after she was free, she lived a life of poverty, and she never did get the full acceptance of European folks, of the white folks. They never really, respected her or gave her props for who or what she was. But yeah, we know who and what she was, and we think that you are awesome, Miss Phyllis Wheatley. We believe in everything that you've done, and we appreciate your contributions. Yeah. So those were two exceptional people in history. Honey C, have a beautiful day. Savory Dave, I know you got to get out of here too. And as he always says, lead with love, logic, and compassion. Ray Beige, you on your way. Got to get that work going today, man. I certainly appreciate y'all. Look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. That's been our hour here at the 5 a.m. Club. I appreciate everybody. Tap that like button before y'all get out of here. Again, thank y'all for your participation. If you got anything from the show, and I mean anything,
I take cash out, Venmo, Zelle, EBT, ooh, EBT. I take cash out,